waiting. So I'm excited.
Yeah, man. Well, look, for everyone obviously watching this, the reason that you're coming on today is you've hit, is it 4 or 5 months of consistent?
5 months.
5 consistent. So this is in a row.
Yes, yes.
All right. So Paul's hit 5 consistent months of profitability. Now, for any actual profitable trader out there, they would know that, you know, being called consistently profitable is an amazing thing, but it doesn't mean that you're going to be profitable every single month of the year. So to have 5 months of consistent profitability, it's a fucking awesome achievement, man. And I feel like you didn't even know how good it was until I said, "Whoa, dude, 5 months! Like you're actually consistently profitable." Like when did you actually? When did it hit you?
Well, yeah, well, like when you were like when you wanted to do this interview, you were like, dude, that's something else. Like that's absolutely something else. So for me, I was like, okay, that's an achievement. I guess I still I still have that mindset of like, why can't this just be easy? Like why shouldn't we be able to do, you know, do this 5 months or be consistently profitable? But the market does what it wants to do,
Yeah,
So I think when you said I want to do the interview, I was like, oh, okay, so that's definitely some kind of achievement. So it's starting to sink in now to me that, wow, okay, that is something. So
oh
yeah,
mate, like look, you know, as you know, it's not hard to get someone to a point where they can make profitable trades consistently,
yeah,
but they end up giving it all back. You know what I mean? Because of mistakes and other things,
yep,
and you know, over trading, too much risk, all that sort of stuff. You know, to see you actually be able to control that element of risk and emotion and all that sort of stuff, it makes a big difference. So I guess the first question here, because there's going to be people watching it, and yeah, don't worry about the sun, bro. It's all right. There's going to be a lot of people obviously watching this that are, you know, either in our mentorship that you've joined, but also people from the outside who don't necessarily have a way to get profitable right now. What clicked? What was the big change from going unprofitable to profitable? Like just splurt it out.
um, just focusing on one strategy.
Yeah,
One strategy. I stopped watching YouTube. I
yeah,
stopped watching anything else, and just focused on the one thing, and made routine time to do it. So I gave myself an hour every day
yes.
to do analysis and check everything out, and tried to stay away from the screen. So a routine, and also my diary. Those are the key things that click for me.
Yeah, and when you say diary, is that your journal where you're tracking the data?
Yes, yeah,
Yeah,
definitely being very religious, writing down why I took the trades, if I'm how I managed them, basically keeping a very good log so I can refer back to it. That really helped me out as well.
yeah, that's perfect. And I think, you know, that's something that I drilled into very early on when you started working with me. But,
Yeah.
you know, as a beginner trader, do you feel like you sort of just don't think about that stuff because you don't think you're good enough to track trades? Like, is that because you don't want to look at the shit data? You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's it. You sort of if you don't, then your losses aren't as bad. Like I guess if you don't go back and look at it, you don't have to stomach those losses. Like you can look at all your winners, but yeah,
Correct.
I think you don't want to look at those losses. They're the prickly ones. They're the ones that let you know
You're not
where your
quite there
flaws
yet.
are.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, 100%. So tell us about your journey. Let's take us back to Paul starting out as a trader. Like, how did you get into the financial markets?
I initially I was I'd owned my own business with my wife for 20, 25, 26 years, something like that it was.
Wow.
And when COVID hit, everything changed for us, and we decided, okay, it might be time to get out of the that business sort of thing and look for a new thing. So I went into mental health,
Yeah.
and then from there I started looking for what was going to be a hobby, I guess, at the end of the
Yeah.
day. Something to cost me money,
Just do on the
I
side.
guess.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, and it was actually my wife that was like, "You should, yeah, you're a numbers person. You like mathematics and all that sort of stuff. Why don't you look at doing it?" So I started off and I started having a look at it, and it just sort of I got the bug. Like I got the bug and
Yeah.
was
You saw the
into it.
potential.
Yeah, I did, and having no experience whatsoever, and I'm still only probably a year or two in. It's still there's still so much there, but I guess at the end of the day, you only need to know a portion of it and stick to that portion of it. And if it's working for you, it doesn't matter about everything else that's out there, sort of thing. So
I love
um,
that. Let's stay on that because, like, let me just ask the question. So, have you done any education before Onyx, or am I the first coach?
you're my first dedicated coach like this. I did a program before, which was something that taught me really good risk management, position sizing, all those.
Beautiful.
I landed somewhere that taught me how to stay in the game,
Yeah, that's what you
basically.
need early on, right? Like,
Yeah, yeah, and not and also gave me they gave me good psychology building as well too. So look, at the end of the day, I'm still human. So my psychology is, if I've had a bad day at work, then if I haven't been able to stay off the charts, then that could reflect poorly on my trades. So
100%.
but yeah, I think I was always still looking at multiple strategies. I always still had a lot of noise of things coming in. I was
Yeah.
watching YouTube. I was looking at just so many different
Mucking
things.
around.
And
Were you ever mucking around with indicators and
yeah, lots of indicator. Well, that was all my stuff was indicator based
wow.
strategies, indicator stuff. Um, so not really any price action stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when you saw my first ad, because I always find it fascinating why people join a program or tend to do coaching. Because there's obviously a lot of programs out there. What was it about my ad and my approach to the market that made you say, you know what, I think I'll give that a go?
Well, um, what was it? What was it that drove? Like, obviously, I saw the ad there, and I thought, you know what, like, you seem quite genuine on the ad, for
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
You seemed quite genuine, and you were, and it sounded like you were going to pretty much give me the strategy, but obviously no mentorship. So I
Yeah.
was like, well, what have I got to lose? This guy seems genuine. He's in my area. He's in my country as well.
Yeah.
So let's have a look. And I got on the phone with you, and from the minute I got on the phone with you, I was like, yeah, okay, I could feel that you were genuine there, and you were just wanting to help. You just wanted to help people, trade at the end of
Yeah.
the day. So yeah, it's just that's it for me, man. Like I said, it
You
just
just get that, like, you just click with someone, you're like, yeah, I know it's a good option.
yeah, and I did just feel like that from your ad man. I'd been a hairdresser for 26 years, and I had someone in my chair every 15 minutes to an hour.
You've got a bullshit detector for
What?
sure.
Well, you just start to learn to read people, and then in mental health too, you're reading people, sort of thing. So I know there's something in your ad that I was like, no, this I feel positive about this guy. Let's give him a shot. And then once I got on the phone, I did click with you, and the strategy did seem simple, and
Yes,
it is simple now that I know it. It
of
is simple,
course.
but it's my human mind, and I guess other people's human mind, that tries to make things harder than they are. So
Let's stay on that because that is the big problem with trading, right? You can go learn supply and demand online. You can go learn smart money concepts. You can go learn indicator-based strategies online. Why do you think early on as a trader, people tend to go towards what's complicated rather than just one simple strategy with one set of rules like we teach and give, right?
yeah.
Like, what is that crossroad there?
I think well, for me, coming into a new, whether it be industry sector or whatever you want to call it,
Yeah,
coming into a new place, and just having my history of jobs and stuff like that, I'm like, God, I'm gonna have to be super smart to be able to figure this out. Like,
yeah,
wow, there's so much to learn. There's this, there's that, and everyone's got a different. Oh, this works, but that works, but so it seemed like there was so much to learn, and I'm never going to learn it. Like, I'm 45, 46 years of age, just looking for a hobby, but there's just so much stuff. So I think it's just out there. Everything's out there, and it's confusing.
yeah,
It just
yeah.
gets on top of you.
Yeah. So your journey, so you pretty much went from learning basic risk management, position sizing, mucking around with different indicators. So you were inconsistent. You weren't profitable, right?
No, just I didn't lose any, but didn't make any. So
Yeah.
just pretty
Okay.
much
So
break even.
just floating around. Yeah.
Yeah,
Um. So you joined us. So you worked with us for about 12 months in the program. So
yeah.
how many times did you watch the course?
Sorry, how?
How many times did you watch the program?
Uh I watched it once first, and I was like, I should be able to do this. That's snow dramas, yeah, sweet, I can understand that. And then it sort of wasn't working for me. Okay, so obviously, just not getting the full mechanics of it. So I think by the third time I got through it, um, the first time I watched it at normal speed, then the next time I just sped it up a little bit, and then
Yeah,
by the
yeah, of
third
course.
time,
And then you end up on 10x speed, and I'm like, yeah,
so now it feels weird talking to you because I'm like, oh, I'm used to you speaking so fast.
yeah,
So yeah, by about the third time, stuff was starting to click. I was like, okay, cool. The mistakes I'm making, they're mistakes because they're not within the rule set. I'm still skewing, like I'm wanting to do this my way, not necessarily that way. So
yeah, yeah.
I was still inconsistent, but I had the information there. It was my brain that was sort of trying to skew things, whether it be poor stop loss placement or things like that, to sort of try and get
Forcing more reward out of a trade. Yeah.
yeah, not, instead of being happy with the 3-to-1 sort of thing, or um so yeah, I think once I went away from it for a little bit. I had to find new employment, so I went away from it for a little bit, for a couple of months, and then once I got settled with my new employment, I
I remember you came back and you're like, I'm here to take it serious now, Nick. I remember.
yeah, which I think was maybe might have been January, and you did the breakthrough call in January, which was a or the breakout 2024 breakout, I think it was.
Yeah, it was like how to get ready for a profitable year. Yeah.
Yeah. And I watched that, and there was a few little gems in there that really sort of clicked with me. And once I got off, I was chatting to my wife, and she was like, you know what, you need routine. You always work best with routine. Sort of, so think about giving yourself that time again. And so through January, I gave myself that. I do 1 hour a day, and I do it sort of around Brussels and London Open sort of thing.
Yeah. Yeah,
That sort of six
perfect.
to seven, 7 to 8 sort of thing. There's not always a trade there at that time, but I'm doing my analysis, and I'm sort of setting up my charts, and I like my limits. Okay, so but I think it was my wife that was like, just go back to giving yourself that dedicated time, so you're not on the phone, you're not
Yeah.
mushing your brain up, sort of thing. So once I went back to doing an hour a day, I do my TA. I monitor on the phone. I try and stay off the phone as much as I can. I don't take trades off the phone,
Yeah.
but I
But
will
you might you
monitor it.
might you might move to break even on the phone. You might trail
Yes.
your stop on the phone. Yeah.
Yeah, but never. I won't do, if I'm doing muck around TA just to go through motions, sort of thing. That's one thing, but yeah, I won't do full TA and then enter on there. So taking that hour a day, and I sort of did that through January, and by the time February came, I was very, very comfortable in that feeling. I think you did another Zoom at the start of February, and there was a couple there that really clicked for me as well.
I think
And
it
then
might have been the
from that,
price character.
it might have been, yeah. And then
Yeah.
from that point, that was where I started really being profitable. The first month, I think I did like 26R just off the top of my head.
That's crazy, man.
It really was, man.
And
It was,
let's just pause it. So, what are you risking? Like, what you're obviously you guys choose all your own risk appetite. I don't tell you
yeah,
guys what to do, what market to trade. I literally just give you guys a price action strategy, right?
yeah,
So,
definitely.
with you, like, what do you risk per trade? Is
I'm
it
a three
1%, two
percenter.
percent, 3%?
I'm a 3%er. Yeah, I think I I've always risked 3% of my account size, so I feel comfortable with that. It's it's up there enough to make a difference, but
But
it's
it's not
not.
aggressive enough to blow. Yeah,
Yeah. You're not sort of like, you're not making decisions based because it's higher than what you can either stomach or handle, or should.
yeah,
At that time, 5%'s very. That's out. That's
that's
up
out
there.
there. Yeah,
Yeah.
you
20,
know
20 trade losing streak, you've blown your account up, and that's possible.
that is definitely possible. As I try to teach you guys, the market is random, and like how I always say, letting go of that control that we think we have as humans over the market, it makes a
Yeah.
big difference. And so let's talk about that. Like 26R in 1 month.
Yeah.
What was the next month? So you've had 5 months of profitability. So
Yeah.
where have you gone from there?
Okay. So that was, and I was trading anything in the top 10, 15 coins. Like, I had lots of different coins there that I was trading. Okay. The next month, after I come off 26R, I was like, this is so easy. This is like taking candy from a baby,
Yeah.
And then bang, 5 straight losers, like
Wow.
just bang. Because I was in like euphoric, like I
Euphoric.
was so euphoric, like. So after those 5 straight, I took a week off or 5 days off from the charts. I was like, whoa, what are you doing? Like, what's going on here? And then when I come back, I looked at those 5 trades, and out of those 5 trades, I probably would have taken one, and the other 4 I probably shouldn't have taken.
Yeah. So they weren't following the rule set. They weren't following the strategy.
No, they were close, but they were
Yeah.
they
Skewing
were
the rules again.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, 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 because the trade wasn't there.
Yeah.
You can't. The market won't give you 26R one month and then probably give it to you again the next month.
Nah,
You
exactly.
know,
Like we say, when the market is ready to give you good trades, you need to take advantage. But that doesn't
yeah,
happen every single month. So
yeah,
you
yeah,
probably thought you can just keep carrying on that style of growth for a long period of time,
yeah.
which pretty unlikely.
That's it. And the market shifted. We had a market shift there. So I'm still longer than the market's boom, 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 boom.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
so I think to take that week off, come back, look at the trades that I took before I went back to the charts, sort of gave me that sort of feeling of, okay, cool.
I'm back
You
to
were
middle ground. Yeah.
yeah. And then from there I got that month back. I think I ended up finishing that month about 15% on account. So
That's about 3R,
yeah,
3.5R. That's good.
yeah. So that was all right. And then from there, me months had ranged between, I think my lowest was 10%, in and I think my highest after that 26 was I think was 28%. The months were up a little bit more, but I again still I still get a bit excited, and I still want to be in the market. Maybe when I subconsciously know I shouldn't be. So
Yeah.
the months where I did do, like the 24 and the 20, I had those months up to like 40% and 36%, but I gave some of it back because I continued to trade in those unfavorable conditions.
Yeah, so
So
so you start making profit. You get to a point where you've got all this trade buffer. So you're like, you start getting a little bit cowboy with how you're trading, and you
yeah,
give a bit of it back, and then you're like, okay, I'll just finish here, sort of thing.
well, I do. Yeah, if you look at my equity curves on each month, they they
They
they
flatten.
usually start off pretty well, and then boom, like just that those last couple of trades, last 3 or 4 trades, will just I'll give back 9%, 9 or 10% sort of thing. So yeah, I've still got to learn to just cool it when
Yeah.
I get to a certain point. Maybe that will come with more capital, sort of thing. I feel like it will.
I think
But
I think
yeah,
so, and I'll tell you why. I think it's because when you start trading with a little bit more capital, you start respecting the size a little bit more.
yeah,
Because you start you know putting the thought towards, okay, if I'm risking $600 a trade, I'm not just going to be cowboying into anything. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah.
But
And
on the
and
other
and I'm
flip
going to be
side,
happy to take profits along the way.
correct. But on the
Yeah,
other flip side, I feel like if you're doing so consistently well on that the amount that you're trading now, which we're not going to disclose, it doesn't really
yeah,
matter.
yeah,
Um, it could be 10K for all we know. But in the end of the day, like, you're consistently profitable, and when you start thinking in percentages, that's all that matters. So there shouldn't be a huge shift in behavior for you, I feel,
yeah,
when you do up your capital, because ultimately you have a process that is working, you have a strategy that is
yeah.
working. It's a simple strategy. Like, for example, how many trades do you take in a month right now, like on average?
On average, if I average it out over I'll take the February out because I traded a lot to get that 26R. So if we
Yeah.
just go the last 4 months there, I'd average about 4 to 5 trades a month.
Wow, that's
And
not too much.
no, no. So I think my highest month was about 12 trades, and my lowest month was about 3 trades, three
I
winning
love
trades,
that.
but like
Yeah.
yeah.
And what is your approach to the market? Like, obviously I've taught you an approach that you've taken, but like, you trade differently to me. And this is what I say, everyone trades a little bit different, right?
Yeah.
I've given you like basically the principles, but what makes you comfortable in taking a trade, and what is your favorite, I guess, setup? Do you like holding more swing positions where you're like in it for a few days? What's your style?
Yeah, I like to hold them for a couple of days. So usually I usually try my entries on the 4 hour.
Yeah.
Sometimes they move real quick though, man, and I expect to be there in 2 or 3 days. And
And
there's
it's there in
sometimes
eight
where I go to
hours.
sleep, it tags me in and tags me out before I've even woken up, and
Yeah.
you're in it for 3-4 hours. But my approach is to hold for 2 or 3 days. If the market's moving, then continue to let it go and just move the stop loss up, sort of thing.
Yeah. So with
Keep
your active risk management, your approach, are you moving to break even? Are you locking in 1R? Like what's your, I guess, executional approach with active risk management? Because
it.
obviously you obviously have an invalidation price as soon as you get into the trade,
Yeah,
right? So you've got a stop
definitely.
loss.
Yeah.
When do you decide, okay, I'm going to move to either break even or put it into profit? Is this something that you do a lot, or is this something that you sort of just let run?
Okay. This is something I had battled with the last for probably the last 6 months. How do I want to actively manage it? And I've come to the conclusion, and I don't. Sometimes I don't always stick to that active risk management,
Yeah.
but I that's a mistake that I would make. I don't class that as something I should do. Because I've had the euphoria where I've let trades run and they've run up to 10, 12R, and I'm like, close out, let's go. Or I've moved my stop up to 10R and then it's come back, and
And
I've
tap
had
you
those
out.
trades. So that feeling's a hard feeling to shove down,
Yes.
to push that down and not trade based on those feelings. So what my plan is, once I get to 4R, I'll sell out 75%.
Yeah. And
Okay,
you've
so
been saying, I love it when you say that because that's not something that I've actually taught you to do.
yeah,
That's something that you've actually come up with. And I think that's the cool thing about, being educated by someone is you're not supposed to follow them exactly how they do it. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Because you're now becoming your own trader.
yeah,
And that 75% thing actually sounds cool because you're letting 25% run for the fences, but you've already locked in trade buffer for the next
yeah.
trade. Yeah.
That's it. And usually with that principle, I'll put me stop to break even. Um, I I never used to. I used to let it ride because the market will sometimes come back down to your entry and then take off again, or there'll be another order block just above that one, but it might come in lower and
Yeah.
take off again. So, but I have just started moving the stops to break even on that last 25% because I'm like, if it comes back and taps me out there, I'll look for the next trade setup. Potentially on a lower time frame if
Yeah.
I happen to be there at the screen, because I don't want to be a 6 hour a day trader, like
Of course. Of
sitting.
course.
I want to live my life and have my 1 hour a day. And with that in mind, I'm accepting. I don't like it all the time, Nick, but I'm accepting that I might only get 4 or 5 trades in the month.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. I love that.
because
Especially when you're trying to target 6, 7, 8R. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like you're not going because like the way that obviously we teach and we trade is like the absolute minimum is 3R, right? That's our
yeah.
target. But with you, like what would you say your average target is? Do you know what your average expectancy is of reward?
Oh, not over the months. I would have the calculation there, but I haven't actually looked at it.
Yeah,
But I'll throw that in the Discord as well. But
for sure.
I couldn't say off the top of my head over the course of the month
Is it? Do
what
you
my
reckon it's
expectation.
above 3R, above 4R?
It would be sitting close to 3R because most of the trades I very rarely get a 3R. If I get a 3R, it's usually I've taken profit and the market's come back and tapped me out, sort of thing. Most of the time, if I've set it out, the trades are on the 4 hour, they are usually a 5R trade.
Yeah, yeah.
Sometimes they might get to that 4.5, and you've got to make
And
that decision.
they start slowing down a bit. Yeah,
Yeah, and that's when it becomes hard because you're like, I'm so close. Do I want to just out and take that? Do I want to wait and see if this is a pullback and give back 2R? Like,
yeah.
so
And I think
it's
that's the evolving risk management that I was trying to speak about with you guys. The
yeah,
evolving R.
yeah,
Like you're not going to risk 4.5R for half an R.
yeah, yeah,
You know what I mean? But sometimes you're
yeah,
like, I just want to let the trade play out, so I've got that confidence that my setup was correct. Does that make sense?
yeah, yeah. And I have done that. I've done that a handful of times where I don't take the profit. I'm like, no, I feel really confident in this trade. And sometimes it's worked for me. Sometimes it's bitten me, and I've given up that 4R, 4.5R, and I've
Yeah,
lost 1R. But I think those things are still important to do, just to to go through those motions, because you've got to have trades like, and you've got to have those feelings when you're trading to not close things on the smaller time frames, or to look at all aspects of the trade.
Yeah,
So
100%. And for you, so when did you? So you started trading? Was it 2 years ago or 12 months ago?
It would have been about about 2.5 years ago. It would have
Two,
been.
2.5 years ago. And you
Yeah,
went from an inconsistent trader
yeah,
to really coming back to trading about 12 months ago and saying, you know what, I want to make this work.
yeah,
And now you've been profitable for 5 months in a row.
yeah.
What do you feel that's not like? Do you feel like that's a life-changing achievement for you? Like, do you feel like you'll be trading for the rest of your life now? Like, is this something that you want to do?
100%. Yeah, 100%. It's not. I'm a very easily excitable person, so sometimes the market's not the greatest spot for me. But
Yeah,
I feel like I want to do it. Yeah, I definitely want to be a trader.
yeah,
I don't think, like I said, I don't want to be a trader where I'm at the screen for 3 to 6 hours a day.
correct.
That's not my drive, and I've proved to myself that I can, in an hour a day, do me TA, set me limit, set and forgets.
Yeah,
When I come back to do me TA the next day, if in my hour there's a trade set up on a smaller time frame, I'll take a confirmation entry over the limit entry.
100%.
If I'm there at the screen and it's in my time, but I'm not gonna. I don't want to necessarily even set alerts and be like, oh shit, the market's in my spot.
And I have
I've
to
got I've
run.
got
You
to
don't want to
stop
be a
doing
victim
what
to the
I'm doing.
market. Yeah. You don't want to
I,
be a slave to the market.
yeah, it's not what I got into trading for. So, and I'm going to miss some great trades doing it
Yeah.
that way, but it's the lifestyle that I want.
Yeah. And
So
obviously, with you, like, I feel like you're at a point now where you're consistently profitable. You can pretty much live anywhere and make money trading. But is the goal for you to start trading prop firms, or do you want to grow your own capital and really make that a large pot?
yeah, look, I both there. That's going to be a twofold thing for me, Nick. Prop firms is the next
Yeah, because
is
that's
the
going to
next
allow
one I'm
you
going
to
to go.
obviously get good payouts to put into live capital.
That's it. Yeah. And then that's it. I'm just going to roll it straight out into my own account once I get to the point that I'm happy with my own account, that I can just trade for income. Then I'll just move straight over to my account. If they're going to, if I've still got the prop firm by that stage, then I'll probably keep it there as well at the end of
Yeah,
the
do
day.
both.
But my goal is to trade my own money at the end of the day.
I love that. I love
Yeah.
that, mate. So if there's anything you could give back to someone who's starting out trading, not necessarily in our group or mentored by
Yeah.
me, but
Yeah.
there's a lot of people out there, right? 90% of traders lose money, right? And
Yeah.
and you know that. Like, it's not
Yeah.
an easy game.
No.
What do you feel can make it easy for someone though? Like, what's your sort of, one or two tips that you're like, look, just go focus on this? Is it just one strategy? Like,
Yeah. One. There's a lot of noise in the markets.
yeah, okay.
So if you pick more than one strategy to focus on, you're just confusing yourself, and that's what I was doing. I was confusing myself between multiple strategies, and when I just focused on the one thing, within 1 month of focusing on the one thing, I became profitable. I had been looking at it for months. Don't
But
get me
you
wrong,
weren't
like you said.
you weren't intentional about it.
Oh, no, that's right. That's the word of the
That's
day,
the
Nick.
word that we've been looking
Intentional.
for. Yeah. So it's intentional. It's intentionally trading one strategy
Yeah,
and not steering the fuck away from it
100%.
until the data says it doesn't work.
Yeah. That's right. And I think this is where if you trade price action rather than so much an indicator, because indicators are past data.
Yes.
So I think if you learn, just because you learn price character doesn't mean you're going to beat the market. Like, we're not here to beat the market.
Correct.
But you're not reliant on previous data. You're reading what is
Live
presented to
supply and
you.
demand. That's pretty much it. Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
So
that's awesome, man. Well, mate, I appreciate your time. Mate, the reason I got you here is because, like, look, when I saw you go from inconsistent to profitable in a pretty short period of time, like, it's obviously something that I'm very proud of, and I think that you have what it takes to get to a level where you can make a full-time income from this, which you already are at that level, but it's about now for you growing to the point where you're happy to actually risk a little bit of more capital
yeah,
to make things worthwhile. And that will come with time in the market, bro. You don't have to rush into that.
yeah, yeah,
But you're at a point now where you should be able to prove to yourself that 5 months of consistency, you've almost been half the year profitable, right? Like,
Yeah, well, when you put it like that, that's pretty awesome.
yeah.
That is
And I
pretty
think it's
awesome.
good. And I think it's good that you're not jumping around celebrating that you've been profitable for 5 months, because you're staying level grounded. And that's something that's important as a trader.
Yeah.
But it's something that you should reflect on and be like, what have I done from these 5 months? Because then you can start building out a trading plan to continue that for the next 5 years. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 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 definitely,
Because
definitely.
whatever's working now, man, you shouldn't be changing, right? Like,
Yeah,
and I think it's easy to go from, oh, I've been profitable for 5 months. What else can I add on? You don't need to add on anything.
yeah, 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 definitely. For me now, I think to get the numbers up, it's patience is one of my hardest things. So and
Yes.
that's why we see with my equity curves, they go up and then they always taper off at the end of the month. Always
Yeah.
take, they very rarely start low and then go. It's always the other way. They always go up
They
and
go
then
up and then they sharp. Yeah.
taper off. So, um, and
You know what
and
you know what you could actually do there? Just a bit
yeah,
of coaching. I'm
yeah.
just a natural coach. I feel like coach all the time. If you do feel like you get a consistent taper off towards the end of the month,
Yeah,
maybe you have a bit of a target with your R, and then you sort of just halve the risk and just see what happens from there. Um,
sure.
because if you let's just say you hit 5R, 10R, which is your target, whatever it may
Yeah,
be, which is
yeah,
28, 30%, whatever it may be,
yeah,
which people online they're like 30% a month. That's crazy. It's like, yeah, but he's risking 3% per trade, you know?
yeah, yeah. That's
Um,
right.
but let's just say you did a 5R target with your full 3% risk, your position size. Imagine you got to your target and then you just halve the risk. What that would allow you to do is learn from the behavior of why you're getting those sharp um,
Yeah,
turn downs, but without risking the full amount to see it. You know what I mean?
sure, sure. And I think if I look back at the trades, I see it like I get those winners, and obviously I lose on the when the market shifts because I'm like, oh, I'll take a long, oh, shut that, take a short, oh no, I got to take, and then I go 1, 2, 3 losers, and then I'm like, whoa,
Yeah.
just settle down, Kando,
Settle down, mate. Yeah. Yeah.
settle down, mate. So I think just when I get to that point, like you said, risk that less R and just see because it tends to be always on the shift, whether it's shifting down or shifting up.
Yeah.
Um,
So maybe you're holding on to the frame of one trend for too long. That could be something to improve on.
yeah, yeah,
Because I know what you mean. When you've seen something work consistently over a trend, um, even when you get proven wrong once and get stopped out, you're sort of like, yeah, but every time, sometimes you get rewarded for dumb shit in the market. So,
and that's the
and that,
worst thing that can happen.
yeah. So, like, I remember in my early days, I used to think I was an amazing trader in 2017. I was unprofitable. This is when I was first starting out. And it's because I figured out you get rewarded for doing the wrong things sometime in trading because it's random. It's a
Yeah,
probability based game. So you could do something that's not right, as in like no stop loss, massive risk, and it pays off. And then you start putting your mind towards, oh, I got a positive payoff from doing something dumb. I'll just keep doing that.
yeah, yeah, totally.
That's why I think trading is hard to get profitable, because these guys who trade without stop losses and they trade without strategies, they get rewarded sometimes for dumb
Yeah,
shit. And
yeah,
then
yeah,
they continue thinking that that's appropriate thing to do. Does that make sense? Um,
definitely, definitely.
yeah, that's why
Yeah,
it's important to track trades. And I think honestly, that's why you've become profitable, man, because you look at your data and you're like, okay, that trade was shit. It didn't follow the rules. And then you just cut
yeah,
that
yeah.
out. Yeah.
And when I started trading, if you look at my like when I started like really journaling back in that sort of January, February, and you look at the journals now, like it's the same sort of thing, same sort of photos and all the bits and pieces, but just like the notes on the end now. Because I used to say I want to see, this happen first. I want to see a fair value gap. I want to see
Yeah.
this. I want to see that. I used to write that all in my notes just so I could go back. But now, after 6 months of doing that so many times, I still write a little bit in my risk management section in my diary, but with why I took the trade, I
It's
don't necessarily
yeah,
fill
the
that out
trade
now.
premise. The trade premise is important.
Yeah, so because I can look at it now and go, yeah, I took that because this, and this. It's all there sort of thing. So, but I still what I'm coming up with at the moment, I've got me 5 boxes I want to check, and I'm basically going to I'm going to grade my trades like A, B's, and C's, and that will
Yeah. A
decide the
plus,
the, the,
B.
the
Yeah.
percentage I risk for it, sort of thing. 1%, 3%, and potentially a 5% on those
A
golden
plus.
trades that can still go the other way, but they have everything going for them, sort of
That
thing.
is
So
exactly that's exactly how I do it, man. Like,
yeah,
and
sure.
that, remember, I was on a Zoom the other day, I was speaking about dynamic risk, right?
Yep.
Not every trade is equal, right?
No.
Because we have the data. When you track data, you understand, okay, that setup's better than that. I'm actually a better trader long than short. You can actually start building a premise around what is my edge.
Yeah.
And I think it's important as a trader to not only increase risk when you know you've got a good setup, even though it can still go wrong. You still want to. You're going to build your account buffer quicker if you swing for the fences on A grade setups.
Yeah.
Risking 0.5% every single trade, you're not going to get anywhere, right? Like,
Yeah.
unless you've got $1 million worth of capital, which a lot of us don't, just to put into
No.
a trading account, right? So,
That's it.
swinging for the fences does help. And when we say swing for the fences, we're not talking 50% risk. We're talking 5% max, right?
Yeah. 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 We want to
Yeah,
stay in the game.
yeah, yeah, correct. But mate, look, I appreciate your time, bro. I think you're an awesome asset to my community, not only just helping others, but people actually seeing that it's possible. Like, we've obviously got a lot of profitable traders in there, but I think with your case, because it happened really quick and
Yep.
you're just an everyday guy, right? And you're not
Yeah.
sitting at the screen all day. You're not
No.
someone who puts 10 hours into trading. You literally trade for 60 minutes a day.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you've gotten 5 months of profitability, man. So,
Yeah.
mate, congratulations on it.
Thank you very much. I find the longer I stare at the screen, Nick, the dumber I become. So, so,
Yeah,
so I've got to give myself that hour. Yeah,
for
and stay
sure.
fresh. The market, looking at price action wears you down. Like, it wears you down mentally.
A
So
hundred percent. A
yeah,
hundred percent. Thank you
fatigue
so much,
very easy.
brother.
No, not a problem, man. It's been awesome. It's been really good being part of the community.
Thank you.